going live. We're going live. Hey, you. Come on, sit down. You're sitting at the grown-ups table. I'm your host, Jesse Pimpinella, and as always, my partner in crime,
John Jacobs. Sorry, that was my Mortal Kombat narrator voice.
I'm ready for this. This is going to be a flawless victory, people.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I know. This has been a show we've been wanting to do for a while because we love these movies. Annihilation, I can't say I love, but you know what? It has a special area for some people, and that's great. But Mortal Kombat, man, this is going to be a great show. The movie just came out. The endless amount of video games that have been out forever. I mean, this is one of those rare video games that gave birth from an arcade machine, which is just phenomenal. You know what I mean? Because, like, I remember putting a quarter into the Mortal Kombat machine, Lake Erie. I was 8 years old.
Lake Erie. Where were you?
I was, my family took a family vacation, and there was an arcade in this little hotel area, and I didn't know what this was. I never heard of Mortal Kombat. And obviously, I know I'm going to sound like the fucking cheeseball of the universe. I played as Johnny Cage all the time. I love Johnny Cage. You know, I loved his finishing move where he would sign the autograph. That's fucking hilarious. I love it. But before we get into that, we really got to bring in our guest, because our guest not only is our guest, but I feel like she is going to bring us to school, okay?
She probably will.
And people understand that today's guest wasn't a choice. It was a understanding that it can only be her as our guest. Mm-hmm. That was it. That was the whole conversation. Please give it up, everybody, for Astraea, everyone. Give it up for Astraea.
Woo!
Hi.
Look at that. And that Melina
costume. My crown on before it started, but whatever.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm just, Melina's running a little late, you know?
She had to eat somebody's face off a few minutes ago.
I literally, that's part of why I was like, hey guys, I'm going to be a little late because I'm hungry as fuck right now. I'm not even kidding.
Before we go
we have like a freezer full of babies. It's fine.
Oh.
Before we go any further, can we get some love for this awesome cosplay? Please give some love in the comment section.
Okay.
Because I could never put together a beautiful cosplay like that.
There's the crown. I love your face makeup. That just looks so fucking good.
Thank you. I had this whole thing where originally I have the MKX Melina like COVID mask, so I have her teeth and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I just I knew I was gonna be like hot and sweaty and bitchy, so I was like, let me draw this on for the event. And I don't know, I kind of like the Melina where she has a regular mouth and it rips open.
Yeah,
I'm into that. We'll talk more about that later, but
looking fantastic. This is great.
I'm gonna quote Kano, basically. You fucking beauty. That's all I'm saying.
You fucking beauty.
Oh, we'll talk about Kano in the new movie here in a little bit.
Well, but before we go any further, I want to make sure everybody knows the drill. Like and subscribe to our YouTube page as well as our Facebook page. We're live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and then our episodes go live, or not live, they go in rerun the next day on YouTube. So check it on out, like and subscribe, people. Now, let's get right to it. Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
Now, Astraea, it is safe to say that you are probably a way bigger fan. I mean, we're fans of Mortal Kombat, but you could take us to school on so much here.
I would go as far to say, honestly, that I have a fetish for Mortal Kombat.
Oh, actually,
I don't even know. Like, I am the only person crazy about it as much as I am. Anytime I do find another person that is, we're just like, oh my God, like, let's just meld into each other right now.
Do you remember your discovery of Mortal Kombat? What was a young Astraea like when she found it?
Well, oh God, I feel like it was my older brother. Am I not there? What happened?
Looks like we lost video. That's okay. We still have audio.
We got audio.
Keep going.
That's not important, but okay.
All
what should I how do I fix that?
Go ahead and take a second and work out your.
While she's figuring out those tech kinks.
Yeah.
Fatalities are my kinks. There we go. That's what I like.
So, Jesse, I'll save myself for last.
This happened. This might just keep happening. It's okay.
There she is.
There she is.
We're live. Live things happen, you know? Okay, so let's go back to Astraea. So, when did you first fall in love with Mortal Kombat? When was it just like, oh my god?
Actually, I do know this one. I was like, wait, I have to think about it. Kano, scoot over a little bit.
She called Cecil Kano.
Why else are we dating? I have a fetish for Mortal Kombat. That's right. When I saw Cecil, I was like,
I feel like he's like the exact opposite of Kano.
Why? He's like the craft beer of Kano.
There's no way that Cecil is leading a triad gang. Like, it's not happening.
No, secretly. He's running it secretly. No, yeah, as soon as I saw him, I like did the whole like Mortal Kombat Sonya move where she like did the kick flip and then flips him out like that. It's the whole thing. Like it the first time I knew like it was like my brother, who's like 11 years older than me, introduced it to me and I beat him, and then I was like, oh what? Like, what? Like, because my brother has always been the person where I'm like, will you finish this level of a video game for me? And then that was the first time I was like, yeah, fuck you. And that was, I think that was Mortal Kombat 3. I think it was the trilogy. Ooh. Like they redid that one like twice. But that still to this day is my favorite game.
Trilogy was nice because, to your point, yeah, it combined all the games. They did some updating, and it was just a nice total package for that initial. And it had like everybody. Three. Yeah, it did. That was really, for me, that was like the set, you know, because I mean, I was already 11, 12 when the first game launched in the arcade, so I had played them literally from the beginning. And when Trilogy came out, and I think Trilogy came out on the PS1, if I'm not mistaken, but I had Mortal Kombat 1 through 3 on the Super Nintendo. So
I had it on Nintendo 64.
There you go.
Oh my god, it was for
and 64. They also released Mortal Kombat 4 on Nintendo 64, which was awesome. That was the first 3D Mortal Kombat. Yeah, and that was fantastic. It was a little
honestly, that one was such a bop because it was like. It was the 3D era, and and you were like, and it was like when nobody gave a shit because we were all playing like, okay, if you go back and play GoldenEye on Nintendo 64 right now,
I have it right over here.
It's blocky as shit. You'll give yourself a headache playing it, but that was like the coolest thing when it came out.
Yeah.
So like Mortal Kombat in like 3D, we were just like, oh, this is the shit.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Even though that's famously the stupidest game with like the worst cutscenes.
Well, the thing that pissed off everybody was being able to dodge to either side in 3D. So now when someone's spamming you with, you know, scorpion spears, you're like, nope, 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 and it would just like piss everybody off.
Yeah, I hated
that. Now, it's no secret here that Mileena is your favorite character.
What?
Yeah, right. What draws you to her character, if I may ask?
It's funny because, like, okay, it also has to do with like me being trans. Like, how Mileena's like, okay, she's like a clone of Katana, and she's like so vicious and like evil, basically, because she just wants to be loved. She just wants to be as pretty as Katana. She just wants a family. Like, she just wants that whole thing, and, like, that really speaks to me, like, as a whole, like, for real. So, like, I vibe with her a lot, just because, like, from the trans experience, that's and I feel like a lot of, like, trans women can relate to Mileena, too, just because it's kind of like that, like, even though people seem to think that I'm hot, like, I'm always going to have that thing where I'm like, I'm not as pretty as Katana, and I kind of want to fucking kill her. That is a very awesome and deep answer. Like you were off air when John and I were talking. For me, I was like, I'm a simpleton who liked Johnny Cage because I like the autograph thing he does at the end of his battles. But like, so I feel like a douche now with my answer. But well, trust me, I had to think about that because like I honestly, when I was little, I literally just wanted to be a supervillain. So the fact that Mileena was like this vicious like ass bitch, I was like, yes.
I like it.
But then just as I grew, I was like, "Ooh, this is a deeper meaning." But like, I've always wanted to be a supervillain. I've always definitely like liked the villains more than the heroes. Like growing up.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's very fascinating. It's very fascinating. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep talking about Mortal Kombat, and like I said, we're gonna need you for a lot of this. So get ready. We're gonna be going to you for questions, and she's gonna. I know you're gonna catch me and John talking, and then you're gonna go, well, actually, and we want those well actuallys. Keep us honest on this show. All right, let's get talking about it. Let's talk about it. The video game, the video game Mortal Kombat. So my first experience was on arcade. Yours was on was it PS2? Was it, Astraea?
Nintendo 64, I think.
64, okay.
It was either the arcade or Nintendo 64. I honestly don't remember.
But it was Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
I just remember when I finally beat my brother. That was on Nintendo 64, and I was like, "Yeah, bitch."
There you go. That's a big moment.
Exactly.
But it's very rare for a video game that started in arcade to be as everlasting as it's been.
Sure.
I mean, there's only a handful of those, for me, and I think arcade games, you really had to like those games because you were shelling out money all the time.
Oh, unless you were good, then you could stay on the game all day with $1/4.
Dude, I sucked so bad at that game that I didn't know there was a storyline. I kept getting the fuck beat out of me, so I never got to another cutscene. So I'm like, oh, it's just a fighting game. And then when I got it for the, what was it? I think I got it for GameCube or something. I was like, there's a storyline? I was like, yeah, I know, right? I'm showing my age.
The arcade ones like are notoriously like way harder. Like I know anytime I go to what is the Old North arcade? Mm-hmm. Like anytime I'm just like, oh yeah, that Mortal Kombat trilogy game, yeah, give me that shit. And I can like beat anybody else in it, but when I start playing it by myself, because usually I'm with Cecil's ass and he doesn't like video games, so like
Cecil's like the worst.
And I'm like, even though I remember all of these moves, I'm still struggling because this is harder. They make the arcade ones harder.
Yeah.
Side note: we should definitely set up a Mortal Kombat party at Old North post-COVID.
One or two Mortal Kombat machines.
They have three.
They have three?
Oh, even better. Better.
I can just see Astraea kicking her ass, and then she just jumps on top of the machine, and just yells, "Get the fuck out of here!" That's fair.
I get very, very angry when I play.
I knew it.
I could tell you're an angry player. Absolutely, I am too. So
I've definitely hit reset. I've definitely like slammed the reset button down with my foot, like through the here and there. Were pretty. Those shits didn't break. Like I put mine through the ringer.
That's why I appreciate old video games. They were tanks. They could take a beating when you got pissed.
Oh yeah. Nowadays, if you like even look at your fucking Xbox wrong, it's like,
yeah, just like it dies.
Trying to see if you can get you can't see because of my table here, but down there I've got my NES, my Super Nintendo, and my N64 all hooked up. Now you've inspired me to pick up Mortal Kombat for my N64 because I have
an N64, but I lost my Mortal Kombat game, and that's the only game that I give a shit about, so I never play it. It's like in this closet over here.
Oh, it's a bummer.
I implore you to go buy it. Right now, N64 games are hot on eBay. Get on that right now, please. But let's go into this. And I want everybody in the comments section to talk about favorite characters. Now, John, you're the only one who has not revealed his favorite character yet. So, who is your favorite character?
Yeah. So I want to back up real quick though to our first experience with Mortal Kombat.
Sorry. Yeah.
So last thing that we would take out of. Sorry.
I was 11 when the first Mortal Kombat actually came out and hit the arcade, and I will tell you that game was a fucking game changer, like for the world. We had seen violence in games before, but the gratuitousness and the brutality of the fatalities and the fighting and the blood and everything, that was just the next level. And I was lucky enough to have parents that really didn't care about that, and it was awesome because I definitely had friends whose parents did care about that, so they had to play it over.
That was always funny. When you're like, oh, like one of the you piss off your friend's parents, and you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like we're literally here impaling people and ripping their guts out.
Yep. So I'm like, hey, your mom doesn't want us playing Mortal Kombat? Just head over to my house because I've got it.
That's how it always was.
But
I had a single mom growing up, so like my mom still to this day is afraid of me. So I like literally I'd be like, come over to my house. We'll fucking watch all of the horrible shit that your parents won't let you watch.
Absolutely. I had friends that couldn't watch The Simpsons. Come over to my house. Let's watch it. Friends who couldn't watch horror movies. I've got on VHS. Come to my house. We'll watch it. So, and
the worst part is, like, I found out about all that shit because my mom was like a super sheltered Christian. So she's like, don't watch this. Don't watch that. And I'm like,
that makes sense.
Bet. We have 3 living rooms, bitch. Like, it's on. I'm going to go watch it downstairs.
It was, I mean, it really changed everything. It really did. And, you know, just like how media always jumps on fuck video games. I mean, we just blamed Grand Theft Auto for something. It had been a couple of years, so it was due. And I'm sure Mortal Kombat's coming up again to get blamed for something since the movie just launched.
I mean, and probably way more violent because of it, you know?
I mean, you know, they can say that all they want, but, you know, that was an arcade experience. And I was okay. I was like a moderate, so I could last for a while on a couple of quarters. I get my ass beat by the real like players sometimes, but it was always a good experience in the arcade. And once it came to the home console on Super Nintendo, oh, it was lights out. That's when the shit hit the fan and we really started getting good. There were tournaments in the neighborhood. Like it was a big thing. So my initial first and always favorite character is Scorpion. And you know what? You can call me, you can say that I'm bandwagoning or this or that, but you know what? Look how many fucking characters were available in the first Mortal Kombat. So any character that anyone's favorite who played from the very beginning is going to be a character people scoff at today. And you know what? That's fine. But guess what? I'll whip your ass with Scorpion and I'll hear you cry about it later. So whatever. You can't help who your favorite character is. Second favorite character, Kano, absolutely. And then third was Reptile. By the time we got to Mortal Kombat 2,
because they took him out.
So with Reptile, I loved Ninja Reptile in Mortal Kombat 2 because I loved the ninjas and he was green and he had the acid spit and all the cool slide moves and stuff. But then they started evolving Reptile into an actual reptile. And ever since then, I've hated Reptile more and more. So he's one of my favorite characters and one of my most hated characters at the same time for that reason. I know that makes no sense, but
that makes sense. I mean, I
like
mean,
the original.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 Reptile all day. All day. I could do all the fatalities, everything. Like, it was fantastic. And his moves were relatively easy in the arcade, so he was an easy character to play with.
Yeah, my favorite
absolutely. Wait, well, hold on. Cecil's about to tell us what his favorite character is. We need to be quiet.
Yeah, what's your favorite character, Cecil?
I don't have a fit. I like the way Melina makes her dress, so... Melina?
What?
I mean, if you're going to dress up like this, then I guess Melina...
Okay, there we go. Cecil has a favorite character.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you're gonna be like the sluttiest character,
dressed like a hoe.
Yeah, she's like she wears the sluttiest outfits consistently. They only recently made her dress like less slutty.
But what I said before was my favorite Reptile is Dick Cheney, and it went over everything. I don't know shit about Mortal Kombat. I'm just here to grab stuff for her.
I was going to say, though, was that Dick Cheney before or after he got shot with the shotgun?
He shot somebody else.
Oh, he shot somebody else. You're right.
No, he lived, but he learned a lesson. And that
Caitlyn Jenner.
Dick Cheney.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, Dick Cheney shot his friend, and the friend apologized.
Yeah. No, he did. He did though.
He did.
National television.
Yeah. Which here's the thing, they were going quail
hunting. What's that movie where Christian Bale plays Dick Cheney? Right. What is it called?
Right.
I can't hear you.
One more time, Jesse.
Vice.
Yes.
That movie is amazing.
I'm going to check that out. I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it.
Really, John.
It's really good.
It's really good.
I like how we did a sidebar into Dick Cheney from Mortal Kombat. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, Kano.
But maybe he'll unzip his Dick Cheney skin and then he'll be Reptile underneath and he'll start spitting acid on people, like in the V movies from the 80s.
There you go.
Oh my God. Hold on. Go on. What were we talking about?
This might be the only podcast where we have makeup changes and everything.
Oh my God!
I got too much blood in my mouth.
She has a bunch of fake blood in her mouth.
It was like gathering for a minute. And I'm like,
This is
sugar, doesn't it?
no, not this one.
Okay.
I never thought one of our episodes would have this much blood in it, but man, this is awesome. Well, if you're gonna have blood
out of their mouth,
if you're gonna have blood, you might as well have it for the Mortal Kombat episode.
Absolutely.
And I was hoping that maybe it would, so like we don't have to do the thing where you
on our ottoman.
it washes out.
All
This
right.
is the worst sitcom version of Mortal Kombat. Like Melina has blood, and then the boyfriend goes, "That's on Ottoman."
All right. So before we transition back into our next topic, one time, one word. What is your all-time favorite Mortal Kombat game? Sky is the limit. I'll start first. Mine is Mortal Kombat 2.
Mine's 2, just because that was the arcade game in that little vacation place I was at. So 2.
3.
3 was good. That
Mortal
introduced.
Kombat X. I really like Mortal Kombat X, and
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and Mortal Kombat 11. But like my all-time favorite, just because of the nostalgia for me, is Mortal Kombat 3.
I would agree. And Mortal Kombat 3 is where they introduced the run and the combo system. So that really took off. Like Mortal Kombat was never the same after Mortal Kombat 3. It totally evolved. So good choice. Very good choice.
Good choice.
Yeah, your guys' choices sucked.
Look, I hate the run. I'm sorry. I hate it. And I've always hated it.
I
and
love
always
it. It would
hated
piss my friends off so much. Like I had so many friends that were like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And I'm like, well,
Yep. You're like, sorry, I'm too good. Maybe you should get good, and then we can play again.
exactly. I could never find a worthy opponent.
I liked how you said that.
All
All right, Jesse. So transition us into our next topic that we're going to discuss. Moving right along here.
All right. Well, what we're going to be talking about next is, well, obviously we have to talk about it. The films.
There we go.
This has been a big week. We just got an update as of, I'm going to say it's been almost 20 years. And I'm counting from the 1995 one. Annihilation, I kind of ignored softly. But the cartoon movies have been pretty great. Like
No.
I like the cartoon films.
You didn't like the cartoons, Melina? I'm referring.
Okay,
We can call her Melina.
Annihilation is valid. Shut up. We were like fucking children, and we still loved it.
All right.
Shut up.
I'll give. No, here's the thing. I was on the Johnny Cage bandwagon when I saw that movie. So when
he died, so then you just checked out.
I'll admit I'm a piece of shit for doing that. So I didn't really give it a fair shot because, and then Lord Raiden, who was originally played by the Highlander, was gone. So I was bummed out about that.
Christopher
When
Lambert.
I made him watch it, he realized, he was like, oh my God, that's Dexter's dad.
Fuck yeah, it is.
And I was just like, and I didn't know that because I'd never watched Dexter. But I was just like, wow, I love that. That's your reference point for him.
Yeah, that's Dexter's ghost dad.
Because like for me, he would be forever that guy who replaced the guy who was the second Raiden. I'd never seen Dexter. I would have been like, oh my God, that's Raiden.
That's his dead ghost dad that coaches him on how to serial kill people.
His
Right.
dead
Wait.
dad. I love that. That's his dead ghost dad.
Wait, in the second
Yes,
movie,
you guys
that's
seen
Dead
this?
Ghost Dad? Wait, the second
What?
movie. The second movie has the dead ghost dad.
Yeah,
That's the
Annihilation.
second,
Yeah.
the second Raiden.
has
Oh, and then
Dexter's dead
so
ghost dad.
we watched the newest movie, and then I made him watch the old movie. And then when Christopher Lambert walked out, Cecil just goes, "He looks like an office manager with a wig on," and I was like, "Oh my God!"
You're trash talking Christopher Lambert, Cecil.
Because the new movie
Watch
was
your
his
mouth.
first introduction. Well, actually, I made you watch the cartoon movie. Never mind. But you were drunk. You fell asleep.
I don't even remember the cartoon.
Here's how conflicted I am. And again, I'm before I even say the next statement, I want it to be known that I'm wrong. Just so everybody knows that. So there's no disagreements here. I'm wrong. I understand Chris Lambert was playing an Asian character, but part of me was like, yeah, go Chris Lambert.
Guys, Lambert. Christopher Lambert.
Sorry, my God.
Come on.
Yes, it's Stephen Colbert.
Also, to be fair, like even though Raiden had the hat and everything, like they've always made him look kind of white.
So that's what I was going with. So
Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
So I'll go with that. You're the expert here, so I'm going to go with that. But the first movie was fairly simple. It got together 3-pillared characters from the arcade game. It was going off the kind of the first storyline where they brought together to go to the island and fight this tournament to save Earth Realm from losing for the 10th time before it's taken over. It was a fairly simple movie. I enjoyed it. The fight scenes.
Liu Kang was hot. Everyone was pretty hot.
Dude, Liu Kang was dope in that movie. They have never gotten a better Liu Kang.
Honestly, I've never thought I can never see really anybody else. Like, it took me a minute for the new movie. Like, I will always see. I think his name is Robin Shu.
Yes, correct.
I will always see him as Liu Kang.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm with you there 100%.
He was the perfect Liu Kang. And he was like sassy too. He was so perfect for that.
Oh, I agree. And I like his
moment to appreciate his hair. Like that.
Oh, his hair was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. And I think his physique was good too. He wasn't like jack ripped, but he was fit.
He was jacked and nut.
He was lean and
he
fit.
did it for me, and I was like,
ass.
how old was I?
So I have a question that I need to ask, okay? This movie came out in 1995. I saw it in the theater. I was 14. Were either one of you actually born when this movie released?
93.
So, Cecil, you were still shitting your pants. I mean, Jesse, you were still shitting your pants when this movie came out.
Still shitting my pants, but I saw this movie.
You were born in 93?
Melina, what about you?
Or the movie? Wait, when did the movie came out in 1995, right?
Yeah. So how old were you when it came out?
7.
Okay, there you go. So I saw it in the theater. Did you get to see it?
I mean, I'm not good at math, but I think I was 7.
Okay. I doubt a 7-year-old was going to see Mortal Kombat in the theater, but you never know. So
it was PG-13,
no, I had to see it. Yeah, I had to I had to sneak that one. My mom.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember when this movie came out, it was huge because Mortal Kombat was still huge at the time. It was a very big thing with the release. Mortal Kombat 2 had just came out, so we got a couple of those characters in the film, like Reptile shows up, Katana shows up. I thought the first film, for what it was okay. I mean, fight scenes were great. That theme song still slaps to this day, like almost
the entire soundtrack.
Later.
The entire soundtrack.
Just amazing.
Also, I loved it. Rewatching it, I loved it. Like, all the fight scenes were super sweet, right? But it was just like, oh, one punch, that guy's dead.
Yeah. Well, at the end,
high kick, you're dead. We don't have to worry about all these henchmen that we just hit.
There were a lot.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yes, there were a lot of henchmen in the first Mortal Kombat, and also, even at the end, we got that orbital song that everybody loves. We got that at the end of the first Mortal Kombat film, which was fantastic. We got Brigitte Wilson playing Sonya, which I thought did a great job. I don't remember the guy's name who played Kano, but he did the best Kano, in my opinion. And then he died. And then he died. I hate the new Kano in the new movie. I absolutely hate it.
No. So we'll save that. Okay?
Funny story about that Kano. That Kano that was in the movie is what inspired him to have an
Australian and be like that asshole.
Yeah.
I love today.
Yeah. So because he had an Australian accent in the movie, they moved that into the game.
Oh, I did not know that. That's a really good
And then they made him the hottest he's ever been in Mortal Kombat 11. And
Mortal Kombat 11, yeah. I mean, Kano's been dope in every game.
He's so hot, though. In that, like, honestly, though, all the dudes in Mortal Kombat 11 are super hot. Like, even Shao Kahn, I'm like...
They really are. Kung Lao, I mean, come on, man.
They're all so hot. And it's weird because they went from hyper-sexualizing the girls to, like, holy shit, all the dudes are so much hotter. It was weird. Like, in Mortal Kombat 11, like... They're like, oh, we can't make the girls slutty anymore, but let's make the dudes super hot.
Yeah. I mean, I think they just went for it at that point. They were like, we're just going to sexualize everyone and make everyone a total badass. That way, no matter what character you play with, you're playing with someone who's way better than you are. So there you go. There you go. Now, we talked about, so Mortal Kombat, in my opinion, they did a pretty decent job. They stuck to the story. They tried to make the characters that you actually gave a shit about. That, you know, it kind of followed the whole team versus team type thing. You know, we had some friends die along the way, but in the end, they defeat Shang Tsung, and you know they stop outworld.
Are you the one that misspelled Melina's name?
I did, yeah, but I corrected
it. Fucking idiot.
I corrected it. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about technology is you can just fix anything. So nobody even needs to know what happened now. But thanks for pointing it out.
I told you I was still upset about it. Go on. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So then 2 years later, we get Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is the definition of the sequel that sucked. It happened with Conan the Destroyer. It happened with Dumb and Dumber. It happened with Mortal Kombat. I mean, this tends to happen with sequels. So what they did for Mortal Kombat Annihilation was, hey, let's have Shao Kahn come down and say, I don't accept this, and then let's just have everybody fight. And let's bring in every fucking character from the film and not give a shit about what actors play them. And it was really just a cavalcade of characters and fan
Some of them played two characters. Like, I believe the guy who played Ermac also played somebody else, and the guy who played Rain also played somebody else. It's because they were just using stunt doubles. They were like, we're going to kill him anyway.
And it really bothered me that Rain and Ermac did not get definitive flushing of their story and screen time. Like, didn't Shao Kahn kill like Rain at the very beginning, like threw him in the fire pit like Austin Powers?
The very first, like, ooh, it's a secret layer bad guy.
Yeah.
Is when he's like, this will never happen again.
Yeah. And I hated that actor that got to play Shao Kahn. It looked like a broke-ass Vin Diesel from the 90s. Like, what the hell,
And
man?
he was so small. He was so small. And at the end of the first Mortal Kombat movie, I really like that I put these on there. At the end of the first Mortal Kombat movie, they had, like, whoever was, like, being Shadow Kahn, that his neck was, like he was huge. Oh, yeah. What happened to that guy? Because you just sent down, like, this little tiny guy. And we're supposed to be scared of it.
The guy had a huge forehead. It was kind of mongoloid-like. I mean, I'm just like, what is this guy doing? Like, it kind of ruined. And then he didn't wear the mask at all. It was the first 5 minutes he had the mask. And
the mask was made of fucking rubber. Like, it's a fucking skull. You can see it wiggle and shit. Like, you're supposed to be menacing and we're supposed to be scared of you.
Yeah.
And then also don't get me started on how they did Melina, but anyway.
I will say that I really like what they did with the Cyborg Warriors. I thought those costumes were great.
Those were super.
They were.
Those were awesome.
But everybody else, like Sindel, what the hell did they do with her? And that actress was god awful. I think they pulled her off the line and was just like,
too bad you
like
will die.
You will die. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like,
also, they just like totally skipped Mortal Kombat 2 and went to Mortal Kombat 3 because like they just melded like they just said, hey, the sequel is going to be Mortal Kombat 3 kind of. Let's throw everything together.
Yeah.
But I will say, as much as Annihilation is hard to get through, the soundtrack slaps every time. Every time. I don't care who you are. And
I've been listening to it. Like, I've been listening to both soundtracks the past like couple. Well, even like working up to like my event thing, I was just like fucking playing it loud as shit.
But I do have one more thing to say about Mortal Kombat 2, and that is those fucking spheres in the middle of the earth. What the fuck is that shit about?
Wait, what?
Look,
oh, yeah.
The spheres where they ride on, like, the
travel around.
Whatever.
But also, how was Kitana, like, she, like, knew what was going on? Bitch, you're from Outworld.
She's like,
why is she like, oh,
I'm like, how do you know this?
Your world, I'm the fucking expert. Like, bitch, you're not even from here.
Yeah, and then they were like jumping over lava fissures, and it's like, well, what happens if your angle and trajectory is not right? You're gonna hit the lava, and she's like, lean left now, and he's like, oh, okay. And then they make it through that tiny hole. I'm like, what is this? Like,
let's have this weird sexualized lean into me moment, and then like that way people know that we want to fuck. Like, what?
Right.
Okay.
Producers, we have to make sure everybody knows the characters need to fuck.
They do.
They do. We have to make sure, if we didn't make it clear at how like mysterious this was and how they were holding each other at the end, let's and then also they made like Liu Kang like so uncomfortable by it. It's like, weren't you guys already together? Like, what is this for?
You had a whole first movie together. Why is this weird now? Like,
here's the thing, the video game movie, to make one video game movie is tough already. Yeah, I mean, because if you think back, Mario Brothers, I mean, that is sometimes people call that the original sin. For me, it's a guilty pleasure. I'll watch it, but it's the original sin of video game movies. But it's very interesting. Mortal Kombat got it right, in my opinion, on the first film, even though it's not perfect, but it's great. It was
all accepted. Everybody accepted it and said, "Hey, this wasn't terrible. This wasn't Super Mario Brothers. This wasn't terrible. We accept this movie." But then Annihilation came out and everyone was like, ugh. And look, I paid theater money for Annihilation and I walked out of there a little upset. So,
well, it was like annoying because like I would have loved to see like fucking like Quan Chi and Shinnok, like the
Dude,
conquest.
where
show.
has Quan Chi been?
Like
exactly.
They could have done that. Like I don't know.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't like though about going back to the first movie is they really didn't do that justice to Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Like to me, that was the only thing that bothered me.
Those are bad guys.
They're hard characters to like. So we can kind of transition into the new film now.
Yeah,
the new film focuses around those characters, and in my opinion, that's the only way to do those characters right. Because if you just side piece those characters, you're pissing everybody off.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what happened in those first two movies. Everyone's like, we want to see Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and we got like 2 scenes with each. And
they just kind of had them. They showcased them as like brainwashed almost.
Yeah,
like that's where they got away with it. They were like they're the bad guys, and they're like, you just kind of think that they're being controlled by Shang Tsung, and that's Shang Tsung. And that's just like, it was kind of like heavily implied that like they're brainwashed or something.
And the thing is, those characters have really rich backstory.
They do
in the video game.
They do.
And actually, when I learned more about Scorpion's backstory, he actually then became my favorite character because I was like, "Wow, this happened to him." He
also so hot.
Yeah,
dude, he is, man. He is.
He is a good-looking dude. I'm like, I wish I want to get hit on his fitness regimen, but point is, it's like he was kind of. Pain and catalyst was the catalyst of him becoming Scorpion. Sub-Zero killing his family and all that stuff, and it's been done different ways of how he kills. But essentially, the said story is Sub-Zero somehow, in some way, in whatever manner, goes to his home place, kills his family, and then Scorpion becomes who we love him to be. And he's just this man of pain, and he will do anything to get Sub-Zero. And like this movie, I felt did so much justice, and they built it so perfectly. So at the ending, when those two fight, it just felt like the big ticket fight when you do pay-per-view for a fight movie.
Right.
Fight, you're like, oh, this is the big ticket fight. And like when you see that dagger or that chain thing go right through Sub-Zero, you're like, fuck, the fight is on.
But here's the thing with the new film, since that's what we're obviously talking about now, that's where they spent their money and time. The opening and the ending, because that was the best part of the movie. It was like, oh shit. When the movie started up, I was like, holy shit. This is going to be a bad-ass movie. They're making Sub-Zero and Scorpion featured characters. They're the leads. Oh my God, I cannot wait. And then we got introduced to Cole, a guy who does backroom MMA fighting and doesn't ever win. And
I was
just like,
for like $40.
I was wrong because I thought he was going to end up becoming Johnny Cage. Like Johnny Cage is like an acting name. Like I was thinking like, oh, Johnny Cage is a stage name. Cole Young is this washed out. Maybe he used to be a movie star. He's a B movie star. He's a washed up fighter now. And this tournament kind of makes him become John. But no, we kind of got robbed of that. So I understand people's issue with Cole. Cole was kind of like what I like to call the Harry Potter character.
Yeah, he's the one we relate to.
Where we relate to and learn everything from there on out. Now, I know. All right, Astraea.
Thanks. I'm trying to not interrupt you.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
He feels more powerful.
Stage is
okay,
yours.
So I am crazy. So I read the script that was written for this years ago. So I kind of knew sort of what was going to happen. They changed a lot of it, but I just like, I get how, okay, it's not the Harry Potter character. It's the fucking Resident Evil. What was her name in Resident Evil? Alice. It's the Alice in Resident Evil shit. Bad idea. And it sucks because like I might be a whore because I'm okay with it because he's hot. Like I don't.
No, he's a good-looking man, and I love when he got his armor. I mean, that was
like,
cool.
I feel like it's a cool idea to have him. Okay, I'm. So I feel like it's a cool idea to like have him introduce new people to like Mortal Kombat or whatever. So like I kind of get it, And like they didn't want to throw so much in. So it's like, okay, they're saving Johnny for the second movie because Kano was the comedy relief in this movie.
Ugh.
So it's like they had to have some sort of a weird like little grounding, like, hey, pay attention to this, and like pay attention to this so we don't have to cram a bunch of everything in. Cause like I kind of like how they made Liu Kang not the main character in this one. They kind of just like showed him as like
I didn't mind that,
introduced as badass, and I think he'll be the main character in the next one. But like he was introduced as like, oh, he's already fleshed out and fucking badass. So I just kind of liked that. I felt like that was kind of respectful of like who Liu Kang is.
Yeah, I felt like this movie was very like it had to be an ensemble film because all of them have a kind of this rich backstory, and I like that they gave everybody kind of their screen time to have the story. Sure. Now, make sure I don't have anything against Cole Young's character. I think he's a great character.
I don't have anything against.
I know what the purpose of it was. I was just bummed he wasn't Johnny Cage, but I get what they're doing, and I agree with you. I like that they kind of made it more of a team effort, which I think scored high points for me as a viewer because I got to learn about Jax more. I got to learn about Sonya more. I mean, they changed Sonya and Kano's origins again based on how they know each other. But I was cool with that. I thought like
not really.
I mean, did they change it because wasn't he just a criminal she was constantly after? But this one she finds him by accident because he slit somebody's throat.
Well, yeah, he killed somebody to get the tattoo, and then she was going to kill him to get the tattoo, right? Do I have that correct?
No, she just, if I remember correctly, and I've been obsessing over this and spoiling it for myself for a while, she had him, well, at first people were super pissed off because they're like, oh, they're not supposed to be friends, and I'm like, they're not, like, they're still not. Like, she kidnapped him and he was like locked up. She wasn't trying to take his thing. She was just like, that was like, oh, he's like the leader of the Black Dragon. Like they didn't fuck with the lore really too much. They just kind of fucked with the only thing that they took away was like that he murdered her partner, which was always never showcased anyway.
That's
so
what
this
I meant.
This is more like it gives you more to go on.
That's what I meant. I should have been more clear. That's what I meant. They didn't do the whole part.
I know what you meant.
All right, so I'm going to speak my piece on this now.
Okay.
If they make another film, because this is pre-tournament, okay? So they have a potential to do a trilogy. We have the pre-tournament film, we have the tournament film, and then we have the post-tournament film. So pre-tournament film is Shang Tsung pulling all of his shit, trying to cheat and kill everybody and whatnot and stack the deck so that he can win the tournament. Got that film. Then we get the film that's the actual tournament. Liu Kang better fucking win because that's the established story and lore. I'd be okay with that. And then we have the post-tournament film, which is where Shao Kahn comes down and pulls all his bullshit and everybody else has to rally around to stop him. If they did something like that, I'd be okay. I hated what they did to Liu Kang. Liu Kang is the lead. Period. End of discussion. He wins the tournament. It's Liu fucking Kang. And they reduced him to a goddamn cameo. And then they bring in Kung Lao, one of the most badass characters ever in Mortal Kombat, and they did nothing with him. He had his really awesome fatality where he cut somebody in half. He did.
But he got the teleport. He did some cool shit.
But then
like it was very like, okay, I'm glad they did that because they didn't just have him be like, oh, like I'm brooding in the background with my hat and then I'm dead.
He got some cool shit, but then Shang Tsung's like, oh, soul, mine. And I'm like, wait, what?
That happened too quick.
To establish the rivalry with Liu Kang.
Oh, but you can't kill Kung Lao all nonchalant.
But
like
nobody's going to stay dead. I really honestly feel like nobody's going to stay dead.
If they bring him back, I'll retract that statement.
I mean, if that is the case, I will be so fucking mad.
Yeah, because you're Carl. I mean,
they're not
and I hate it also that in the trailer, it was like, oh, she's dead. Like, I mean, oh, she got gut blasted, and not in the way that we like, okay? She got gut blasted, dead. It was very clear. So, my thing is, I don't know, like, they could go with so many different things because they've retconned so much in Mortal Kombat, not even for this, but for everybody. Like, for Kung Lao, maybe they bring him back, like, maybe once Liu kills Shang at the end of the movie, then they bring him back somehow from that.
I'd be cool with that.
I think most of them are going to come back because they really, it's the line that that was said at the end of the movie, death is just another door. So when they
another
said
portal, but sure.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So once they said that, you know this movie. Okay, real quick. How many times?
I'm insane. I know
how
everything.
How many times?
She had a theater party for it last weekend. So.
Well, I know she did, but how many times have you seen this movie?
I think only two.
The new one,
only been out less than
I think only two.
The new one, only two.
I think only two, but like I said, I've read the scripts.
Sure.
That's true. That's true. I love how you were reading.
I actually like how I should just go like this from now on.
I wish we'd have known you read the scripts, because if we had more time, I would ask you what a lot more of those scripts, like what was different from this movie than what was originally written, because
they revised it about 4 times.
Yeah, no,
and I'm glad everything that they took out. I'm very glad that they took out.
Yeah, for me, like,
can I actually tell you the original ending?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so I was really hoping that they would make Cole Young Kwai Lang.
Huh?
Was anyone else thinking that?
No, I didn't even think that.
So, because, like, okay, in the original one, and this was stupid as fuck. So, in the original one,
okay,
they had him realize his powers at the very end, and he, like, shoots a spear, like, scorpion spear, out of, I don't know, his hand. I don't know. The person who wrote that originally was fired. So, but like, that's his power. That was his arcana. And the spear goes through Goro's face, and he goes, "Get over here." And then he's Scorpion.
I wouldn't have hated that, because
I would have fucking hated that.
I wouldn't have hated that.
Badass Scorpion. No, they legitimately just made him Scorpion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he's supposed to be Scorpion
leading up to that. It was just he was Scorpion, and he just realized his power, and that was that he's Scorpion.
But I thought he's supposed to be Scorpion, because you have Scorpion's dad, and then you have Scorpion, and I thought he was supposed to end up being Scorpion, because he's from the bloodline. His power is the pussy.
No, the old dead dude is Scorpion. This is just a descendant. Like,
he's a descendant of Scorpion. Cole is a descendant of Scorpion.
Okay.
Thank you, guy who doesn't know Mortal Kombat.
He's from
he's
from the clan. I forget the name.
I watched the movie.
So.
But I thought they were going to make Cole Scorpion, since he's a descendant of that.
I thought that he would be a version, like a new version of Scorpion.
I would have been okay with that.
Possibly, like, Scorpion's phantom would inhabit his body.
Ooh, I really like that.
About Cole Young. Okay. How overpowered is that power? Can we talk about that? How can you have Cole Young in the game? Like, when he's just like, oh, you can't hurt him?
Yeah,
they would have to establish a limit of where he still has some kind of weakness.
Because, like, I know Jade, like, I know a couple of them have, like, oh, you can't hit me with a projectile, or I can have this, like, body kind of armor for, like, 2 seconds, but, like, that's his only power.
Well, we need to also talk about the powers in general, because I like how I forget the name. Arcana, yeah.
The Arcana.
I like how that explains it. So that's how you can explain fireballs and purple energy and stuff. Like, I'm down. I'm 100% down. But here's where I'm not down with it. When you fuck up my man Kano, because he doesn't get lasers out of his eyes for the fucking Arcana. He gets it from the goddamn implant. How did you mess that up?
What about Jax? What about Jax's little stupid arms? What about Sonya's, like, okay, that takes out the whole, like, high-tech shit of the special forces, because, like, my magic is metal arms.
Yeah, right. And he had the little T-Rex arms that then evolved when he got confident.
He had turned into Bulk arms. Was to have sick arms. Like, that's me speaking as
he said his Kana, by the way, you guys. His Kana. His Okana. His Ocarina of Time.
As someone who knows not shit about any of this, was my impression was like, hey, like you had shitty metal Tibetan monk arms, and then you got your superpower, and now you have sick arms.
Okay, but did you like Cole because you don't know? Did Cole help guide you into Mortal Kombat?
Who the fuck's Cole?
Go away.
You came about the guy, the MMA fighter.
Yeah,
Cole's an MMA fighter. Yeah, like I don't understand his power. His power is that He has these. I forget what they're called.
His power is
the shield.
That's why Melina was stabbing him.
He also has the fucking police batons.
Yeah.
So like the wrong way.
The story behind Cole's power is that because he can never defend himself, meaning he always loses in MMA fights, but he always defends his family. Yeah, so that's where his power, he's able to defend, so he has the armor. Look, I like the Cole character. I hate the Cole character in this movie.
I think he's hot. I'm okay with it.
Liu give us Mortal Kombat 1 and call it a day. You don't got to be fucking fancy.
I mean, I'm waiting for them to remake the Mario movie, and that's what I'm looking for. So,
only if John Leguizamo can be in it.
Look, and there was a sky beam. Guys, there was a sky beam in this movie. Why do we keep putting sky beams in movies? I don't understand. When an energy beam shoots up into the sky in a movie.
Oh, well, that's what happens.
Because that's how they're teleporting, bro.
That's how it goes.
That's how Raiden's teleporting them, bro.
I mean, that's how we got Star Wars sky beams, The Mandalorian,
Mortal Kombat sky beams.
If I was working me up, right, then sky beam.
That would be your Okana.
Yep. Cecil turns into a sky beam. That's it.
My Okana is from drinking a CBC Bodhi out of a Rheingeist glass while wearing a Rheingeist hat.
Oh my God!
No.
You rebel.
Your Okana would be that you could drink and never get drunk.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we've got about 5 more minutes. What are our final thoughts on just? Let's do our final thoughts on the films as a whole, and then our final thoughts on the games as a whole. So, Melina, you start us out.
Okay. So, I feel like I didn't get to bitch enough about Melina.
Go ahead. It's your time. Go ahead.
So the movie is like the Sub-Zero actor said there would be 4. He signed up for 4 sequels.
Oh, 4.
So I feel like that 4th one could be like Shinaki, maybe.
It could be.
I don't know. I liked it. It wasn't the best. There were too many cuts in it. They cut it too much. The fights went too fast. I feel like the choreography was good, but they cut too much of it because
I agree.
And I understand because some people were like, "Oh, it sucked," and I'm like, "They made this in a pandemic."
Sure. Yeah.
They made it in a pandemic, so I wasn't expecting it to be great. The effects are awesome.
They are.
I really do like that they had like the extra blood effect because that like gave me like all the games are like that extra blood. It was unrealistic and they like played that out. I loved that. The head clap, listen, the head smash was a very disappointing head smash. I love when people get impaled, when people get shot in the face or something. Like I like violence. I crave violence.
Yeah,
anytime something cool happens, like in a show, even like a medieval. I remember, like off the top of my head, something happened and somebody got impaled by a sword really quickly in the head, or chopped their head off or something, and I was like, oh, sweet. Like I get very like about it. That head smash was a very disappointing head smash. I'm not okay with it. They were on the pit level, and all that got thrown off was the hammer.
Yeah, lame. To a minion.
I get it. Maybe just like, and I also just feel like they did Melina wrong. But if they don't, I will only be okay with this if they bring her back, which they have several different ways to, that are all go with the lore actually. But how they fucking just kind of like, okay, the teeth thing, the fucking teeth thing, that could have been fucking awesome. Why couldn't she just bite fucking? Why couldn't she like bite someone's neck? Just bite someone.
Or their face. Like, that would have been dope.
Like she could have bit like Cole's face or something, and he could have gotten better and just had a super sweet scar. Like something. I was hoping that she was gonna be the one to kill. I keep wanting to say Kuai Lang right now. Kung Lao or something. Like I just like wanted somebody to get their fucking face bit. Like her fatality specifically, where she gets like weirdly up in your face really slowly and then just bites the front of your face off. I wanted that.
I did too. I agree with you.
I do, however, think she looked super cool when she was dead and she like flopped over because we saw like the actual like the like traditional Melina mouth. It wasn't like MKX Melina mouth. It was like straight cut across, which is why I like the ones that do this. Like I even watched Mortal Kombat Legacy, and I like that they just had cracks in her face, and she would get mad, and it would rip open. So I like that. I feel like that's more realistic. That she would like always be ripping her face open and shit. And I don't know. I guess I'm done. I'll just keep fucking going on.
I didn't like tactical gear, Melina. I wanted like
you wanted slutty Melina, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's because that's how we always see her, and I feel like that fits her personality.
Well, here's
Melina
my theory.
Didn't really
here's my theory. I feel like calm down, I feel like
I like slutty Melina too.
You just slapped my butt. Okay, so here's my theory. And then I'll shut up. So here's my theory. So I feel like that wasn't the actual Melina. I feel like that was just one of the offshoot clones of her that he was like, oh, I can throw this one away, whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like the real Melina is with Kitana and Jade being Shao Kahn's royal guards. Ooh. They're never leaving him. And she's never allowed to not be watching Kitana. First of all, that's her whole purpose of her fucking existence. Is to watch out for Kitana's little betraying ass and then take her place after killing her when she fucks up. That's the whole fucking point of Melina. So I feel like that was just one of the clones, an expendable clone that, he just brought with him because he has them to spare.
That's interesting.
I would agree with that. I actually like that theory a lot. I'd like to see that because I'd like to see a better Melina, to be honest. I really would.
And also, you can't not have a Melina-Kitana rivalry thing or, the story arc of when they're, fighting next to each other and then Kitana starts being like, oh, I don't know. And then Melina's like, bitch. And then they fight. You can't not have that. And I want her to bite someone's fucking face off.
I agree. I want that. I'd almost even want to see her engulf somebody and spit their bones out, which I think was her Mortal Kombat 3 fatality, if I'm not mistaken. So I would love to see that, too. That was 2? That was Mortal Kombat 2? Okay.
The thing with the violence, I think the reason why we didn't see anything too crazy is...
What do you mean too crazy? We saw somebody sawed in half, dude. What are you talking about?
Dude, that was crazy.
It was.
Also, I don't even give a shit about Nitara because, that was worth it.
No one cares about that character.
Her wings were so expensive that they were just like, let's kill her in 2 seconds.
Yeah, nobody...
wings were too expensive.
I don't know a single person that likes her character or even plays her in Mortal Kombat. Nobody.
They just like the idea of her, but guess what? She is replaced by Melina and Scarlet anyway. They both do it better. You don't need a fucking vampire. It didn't make sense.
With her little bat wings. Yeah, fuck that.
The reason why I'm saying that the violence was held back is because it really was. Because when they were cutting this movie for the MPAA, they were trying to get the R rating because they were skirting so hard into the NC-17.
Well, sure.
Yeah, because the problem with the MPAA is they have very arbitrary rules that don't apply to all movies.
Yep.
So, for example, majority of Disney's Avengers movies and Marvel movies should have an R rating based on the rules, but it's Disney, so you can get away with a lot of rules. If you watch a lot of movies that are considered NC-17 that are independent films, you watch them and you're like, this is at best rated R. It's not even a hard R. It's because the MPAA is very dickish and very cartelish.
Well, they're inconsistent and they're biased and
they're very biased. So this movie, I mean, number one, yeah, it's Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers doesn't have that same caliber that Disney has. Number one. Number two, with the violence, I heard they wanted to go farther. They were saying that this is NC-17 and this is where they wanted. They wanted to be right
on the cusp.
So I think
they have the opportunity to follow it up with that.
And I
think they will.
So this movie for me, I give it a 9 out of 10 because no, I really do because there's a reason why.
Whoa,
I do.
Man.
I went in. Here's the reason why. I went in understanding that.
I'm just laughing because of John's reaction.
9 out of 10. Christ, man. Oscar-winning films aren't 9 out of 10. What the hell?
Yeah. Number one. All right. I've seen 1,000 video game movies. This is top tier shit right here.
Well, it doesn't mean it's a 9 out of 10. It just means it's a good video game movie.
You can give your rating in a second.
Hold on. I didn't walk into this thinking, oh my God, this is going to be fucking Saving Private Ryan. It's going to be at the Oscars next year. I walked in going, hey, look, this is Mortal Kombat. This is a video game that's built up with a lot of violent fight scenes, fatality, and great cutscene. And that's what the movie was. I mean, the scene, the acting, you could say some part, but to me, it was what it was. It was good cutscenes. The choreography was fucking amazing. It grew and grew. And it built up perfectly to the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. When you watch that fight scene,
oh my God.
So, I mean, for me, I give it a high rating because it succeeded in all my expectations of what the movie was supposed to be. I think a lot of people, respectfully, if they didn't like it, most of the people I've seen online trash talking, they were expecting this. And I'm like, dude, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. It was what it was supposed to be. It was what it was supposed to be, and they're going to build towards it. Everybody knows the first movie always plays it safe. You got to secure the money. You got to show everybody it's financially lucrative. And then the second movie, you take all the crazy risks. You get violent. It's a horror movie 101. The first movie, it gets the investors secured in knowing that the next movie is going to be a hit. Then the second movie, it gets bloodier, it gets gorier, it gets crazier. And I think we're going to be in for a very crazy, gory sequel.
Okay, are you done?
I'm done. I'm complete.
All right. So this movie was
first of all, before you start, John.
Yeah.
You misspelled Melina, and you also
didn't
know a couple things about the lore. So why are you mad? Why is it not a 9 for you? You don't even know Mortal Kombat.
I definitely know Mortal Kombat. I apologize for the spelling error. I'm also 40, so my memory's starting to go. So you guys are younger and you remember better than I do. Dude, first of all, film is art and it's subjective. We're going to add a little runtime to this episode because I got something to say. So it's all subjective. However, we do have objective standards in place to accurately measure art. Okay. And if you're going to say, oh, it's just the Mortal Kombat movie, you're already placating the fact that it's not a 9 out of a 10. You're using that positioning by saying, oh, well, we're going to lower our standards to say it's Mortal Kombat, and then I'm going to say it's a 9 out of 10 based on that. No, sir. No, sir. Look, I'm not a fan of Citizen Kane, but it's regarded as literally one of the best and close to perfect movies ever made, and it's a 9 out of 10. So there's no fucking human way possible that Mortal Kombat 2021 is a 9 out of 10. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. Was the choreography great? No. Yes. Were the costumes great? Yes. Were the fatalities great? Yes. Was the story good? No. Was Cole's character good? No. Did I care about any of these characters? No. Did they fuck up Kano? Yes. Did they fuck up Liu Kang? Yes. So there's no way that this is a 9 out of 10. You've lost your fucking mind.
Kano carried that movie. First of all,
he carried the movie.
He carried the movie.
That was hardcore.
Go back to molesting me in silence.
Whoa.
I understand there's objective standards to rating a movie. I get that. And I'm not saying it's Mortal Kombat to lower the standard.
No. You see this?
But I think movies are made with different purposes.
There you go.
And I think this movie,
they're made to sell
succeeded in what it was supposed to be. They wanted to make a Mortal Kombat movie. They wanted a gory, amazing fights. They wanted cool backstories on these characters, which they did.
So I want to interrupt. I do want to be rude and interrupt. I have a question. Are we all three in agreement that sales of Mortal Kombat video games are going to go up based on the release of this movie?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so there's your reason why this movie was made. Just like all those 80s cartoons that we keep saying were the best and we loved, and then you watch them as an adult and you're like, this is the worst show I've ever seen. Yeah, it's all made to sell something. We all love 80s cartoons because we went out and bought the fucking toys. So we like the Mortal Kombat movie because it made us go out and buy the Mortal Kombat game. There you go.
As someone who does not give a shit about Mortal Kombat, after watching that Mortal Kombat new movie, will I watch the next movie? Yes.
Awesome. There you go. And
That's what I'll say about it.
I agree with you there.
I know none of the lore. I don't know anything about the characters. After watching that movie, did I care that they brought in a character that was not part of the video games? No, I don't. I don't care that Cole was not part of the video games. It created a storyline. I did actually watch the movie when we watched the movie, and I'll watch a new one if they make a new one.
He actually didn't even make fun of it, and he laughed at Kano the entire time.
I loved Kano. Kano was
probably my favorite character. Because you're Kano.
I was disappointed that they killed him, but I don't think that they'll keep him killed because I'm sure
he hasn't had his robot eye yet.
Well, hold on. Yeah. The way I see this is, based on everything I know about Mortal Kombat, they'll bring him into some death realm or some shit or whatever the fuck exists and bring him back somehow. Yeah. They'll resurrect his body or whatever the fuck they do in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think they're going to start the Cyber Initiative storyline with.
And I'd be down for that. I want to see the cyborgs. I want to see Smoke as a cyborg, not as a ninja. And I want to see Noob Saibot as a cyborg, not as a ninja. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Oh God! Yeah, we need Noob Saibot as Noob Saibot. Let's not fuck it up.
I'm just saying.
Quick little pop quiz to end the show. Noob Saibot. Where does that name come from?
From the old Saibot.
I mean, are you asking like the chat right now?
I don't know.
No, I'm anybody in this video right now.
I mean, I could Google
Boone it. Boone Tobias backwards.
She got.
What is it?
It's the two makers' last names.
Oh yeah, doesn't that have something to do with the Toasty guy? Isn't that one of them when he pops up? That's one of the two developers. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you would know that, Astraea. I just wanted to test to see if everybody else.
Of course, John wouldn't know that. John doesn't know Mortal Kombat.
Oh, getting old, man. Getting old.
I'm sorry. I'm just really mad you misspelled my name.
He's just aggressive.
I mean, look, I can't help it that I was alive when this actually launched. So my bad.
But anyways, we got to wrap up. I want to say real quick, just a big round of applause, please, everybody. Please give it up for Astraea right now, all right? Or as I should say, Molina, everybody. Give it up. Yes.
And that weird guy in the background.
Yeah.
Kano.
Hipster Kano. Hipster Kano.
Gives a shit.
Thank you so much to everybody that tuned in today. You guys rock. Thank you, Axe, for lighting up the comment section. Thank you for everybody. This has been a fun show. Like I said, it wasn't even a decision to have Astraea on the show. It was like it had to be.
It's gonna happen, right?
And my nipple didn't come out at all.
Thank you for that. So that we don't have to blur it out.
We had to do the caca. So yes.
We had a secret thing, and I told him to caca if my nipple started showing, so I knew because I'm dumb.
Flawless victory, right there. All right.
Nailed it, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. You were great. And definitely we'll have you back on for another show.
Oh, absolutely.
For anything else. But hopefully, if there is any new Mortal Kombat stuff, we would love to have you back on that. Because I learned, I think, a lot more about Mortal Kombat than I knew coming into this show. Like I already knew my basic knowledge, but I was like,
Can I tell you, it's really been like haunting my dreams. Like even last night, I feel like I had a tummy ache, and like my dream was about how if I had to my dream literally turned into like, if you take a big shit, you'll be able to be in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Like I'm insane. And I just watched Mortal Kombat Legacy last night, so all of my dreams were about like being in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Like
awesome.
It lives in my head rent free, and it's been there for fucking 30 years.
Yeah.
And here's to another 30.
Oh my God. Can you imagine me like 80 years old dressed up as Molina? Like, I'm so excited for the new movie.
It's Mortal Kombat 25 and I'm pumped.
Just Astraea in a wheelchair.
Right.
Home. Put on my stories.
And I like dress my little like grandchildren up, and they're like my little henchmen, and I'm like, push me.
You gotta have one of those flannel blankets over your legs though, because you get cold.
But it's like covered in blood. I have like little fake bones all over me.
I like it.
What's wrong with Grandma? Oh, that's just fake blood coming out of her mouth. She's all right. She's okay.
It's not fake.
Real blood. She's not really dying right now.
Like that Grandma Red Kiss lipstick, they just got like a blood stain on their cheeks. We visited Grandma today.
All right, Jesse, close us out.
All right. Give it up for Max Rowland for all the graphic designs, as well as Vance, the producer who produces the goods. Tune in next week. We'll be back 7 o'clock Wednesday on Facebook Live. And until then, I'm Jesse.
And I'm John.
And you've been sitting at the grown-ups table. Have a good night, everybody. Flawless victory.